Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and we're going to be doing chapter 3 of Parah Adumah, which is about the red heifer by Maimonides. The red heifer should be burnt only outside the Temple Mount, as Numbers chapter 19, verse 3 states, and you shall take it outside the camp. They will burn it on the Mount of Olives. A ramp was built from the Temple Mount to Mount Olives. Below it were arches upon arches. For example, an arch on two arches, so that there would be empty space underneath, under it, lest there would be a grave in the depths of the earth. Similarly, the place where the heifer was burnt and the place of immersion on the Mount of Olives had the space under them hollowed, lest there be a grave in the depths of the earth. The red heifer and one who would burn it, and all those who assisted in its burning, go from the Temple Mount to Mount Olives on this ramp. All right, so there's going to be multiple people that are involved in the burning of the red heifer. How was the red heifer burnt? The elders of Israel would walk to the Mount of Olives first. There was a mikveh there. The priest who's assisting in burning it, and the heifer would go out on the ramp and come to the Mount of Olives. There, they would make the priest impure. The elders would rest their hands on the priest and tell him, immerse yourself. If he was a high priest, they would tell him, my sir, the high priest, immerse yourself. He would descend, immerse himself, ascend, and dry himself. There was wood arranged there, cedar wood, oak wood, pine wood, and smooth fig wood. An arrangement like a tower was made, and the windows were made in the midst of it, so that the fire would flame in them. The front of the arrangement was in the west. The heifer would be tied with a rope of love grass, and it would be brought into the arrangement with its head to the south and its face to the west. The priest would stand to the east and its head facing west. He would slaughter the heifer with his right hand and receive its blood in his left hand. With his right finger, he would sprinkle from the blood in his left palm 7 times towards the Holy of Holies. He would dip his finger in the blood for every sprinkling. The remainder of the blood on his finger was disqualified for sprinkling. Therefore, after every sprinkling, he would clean his finger on the body of the heifer. When he completed sprinkling, he would clean his hands on the body of the heifer and descend from the arrangement. He would light the fire with small kindling twigs and place them below the wood of the arrangement. The fire would begin to catch in it. The priest would stand at a distance and watch until the fire catches in its large portion and its belly becomes ripped open. Afterwards, he takes the branch of a cedar tree and hyssop that is at least a hand's breadth long and wool dyed crimson, weighing 5 salium. He asked the people standing there, is this a piece of cedar? Is this a piece of cedar? Is this a piece of cedar? Is this hyssop? Is this hyssop? Is this hyssop? Is this a crimson thread? Is this a crimson thread? Is this a crimson thread? Asking each question 3 times, they answered yes, 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 3 times for each set of questions. Why is this all necessary? Because there are several species of cedar, 4 species of hyssop, and several options to produce red dye. Some dye with madder, and some dye with laca sap, and some dye with tolaas. Tolaas refers to very red berries that resemble carob seeds. They are like sumac berries. There is a bug, like a gnat, in every berry. Since there are different types of species for each of these entities involved, the priest notifies everyone and informs them that these are the species mentioned in the Torah. The hyssop mentioned in the Torah is a type of hyssop eaten by homeowners and used as a condiment in certain dishes. The hyssop, cedar, and wool dyed crimson are all absolute requirements, without one of which the others are not acceptable. The priest should bind the hyssop together with the cedar branch and the crimson thread, and then throw them into the belly of the heifer. As chapter 19, verse 6 states, he shall cast them into the midst of the conflagration of the heifer. He should not cast them into the heifer until the fire has caught hold of the large portion of it, and not after it has been reduced to ashes. If he casts them at those times, it is unacceptable, as indicated by the phrase, in the midst of the conflagration. Example, for not before the fire has caught onto its large portions, and not after it was reduced to ash, whether one cast all 3 of them together or one after the other, whether one casts them in the heifer's body or into the fire, whether its belly burst open or it's burst open on its own accord, or the priest ripped it open by hand or with a utensil, it is acceptable. When the process of burning it has been completed, its remnants and all the pieces of wood in its arrangement that were burnt with it are beaten with clubs, and everything is raked out with rakes. Anything, whether from its flesh or from the wood, that has been blackened and is possible to be crushed and reduced to ash should be crushed and reduced to ash. If something has no trace of ash on it, it is left. Any piece of bone that remains from the heifer's bones that was not burnt should be crushed regardless. None of its ashes are brought into the temple courtyard for storage. As verse 9 states, and he shall place it outside the camp. The ashes were divided into 3 portions. One was placed in the Chayil, one on the Mount of Olives, and one was divided among the priestly guard posts, or what is also mentioned as the watches. The one that was divided among all the priestly watches was used by the priests to sanctify themselves. The one that was placed on the Mount of Olives was used by the entire Jewish people for sprinkling, and the one that was placed in the Chayil was prepared and hidden away, as implied. It will be a security for the congregation of Israel. This teaches that it was put away for safekeeping. Indeed, the Chayil, they would put away for safekeeping a portion of the ashes from every red heifer that was burnt. 9 red heifers were offered from the time that they were commanded to be commanded to fulfill this mitzvah until the time when the temple was destroyed a second time. The first was brought by Moses, our teacher. The second was brought by Ezra. 7 others were offered until the destruction of the second temple, and the 10th will be brought by the King Mashiach. May he speedily be revealed. Amen. So may it be God's will. So that's chapter 3 of Parah Adumah. Please subscribe to my channels. I have 3 channels on YouTube. I have Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. All the links are in the description of this video. So please subscribe and click the notification button. Also follow me on X and on GETTR so you are able to get notifications of my work and my interpretations of certain events. In addition, please go to my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take a look at the products that I offer. I have ebooks, supplements, and a lecture series dealing with immunology and pulmonology. You can also donate through Stripe, PayPal, or buy me a coffee on my homepage and my website. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.